Hello, students. This is Dr. TM. It's time for me to read you an SEL story. That stands for Social Emotional Learning. Here we go. The book we're going to read is titled Each Kindness by Jacqueline Woodson, illustrated by E.B. Lewis. As we read the story, I'd like you to think about the characters that you're going to meet in the story. You will meet Chloe and Maya, and as you hear the story, I want you to think about, how does Chloe feel? How does Maya feel? And what do the pictures tell you? The illustrations are beautiful in this book, so I want you to pay careful attention to the illustrations and see if you can pick up clues about the mood of the girls in the story. We're going to learn two important lessons in this story. The first is about empathy. That's a fancy word. Empathy means understanding another person's feelings, kind of like putting yourself in another person's shoes to see what they feel like. And the second important lesson is about kindness and how kindness has a ripple effect. Think about when you toss a pebble into some water and how the movement of the water goes outward. It starts small and it gets bigger and wider as it goes out. And here's the story. That winter, snow fell on everything, turning the world a brilliant white. One morning, as we settled into our seats, the classroom door opened and the principal came in. She had a girl with her, and she said to us, "This is Maya." Maya looked down at the floor. I think I heard her whisper, "Hello." We all stared at her. Her coat was open, and the clothes beneath it looked old and ragged. Her shoes were spring shoes, not meant for the snow. A strap on one of them was even broken. So Maya is coming to school for the first time, and Chloe notices that her clothes are ragged. They're torn, possibly pieces hanging off, and she notices that she's wearing spring shoes in the wintertime. What's that mean? Our teacher, Miss Albert, said, "Say good morning to our new student." But most of us were silent. The only empty seat was next to me. That's where our teacher put Maya. And on that first day, Maya turned to me and smiled. But I didn't smile back. I moved my chair, myself, and my books a little further away from her. When she looked my way, I turned to the window and stared out at the snow. And every day after that, when Maya came into the classroom, I looked away and I didn't smile back. My best friends that year were Kendra and Sophie. At lunchtime, we walked around the schoolyard, our fingers laced together, whispering secrets into each other's ears. So at recess, they're holding hands and whispering secrets. One day, while we were near the slide, Maya came over to us. She held open her hand to show us the shiny jacks and tiny red ball she'd gotten for her birthday. "It's a high bouncer," she said, but none of us wanted to play. So Maya played the game against herself. That afternoon, when we got back into the classroom, Maya whispered to me, "Bet you can't guess who the new Jacks champion of the world is." Behind me, Andrew whispered, "Chloe's got a new friend. Chloe's got a new friend." "She's not my friend," I whispered back. Oh my, let's think, how would that make Maya feel to hear that? The weeks passed. Every day we whispered about Maya, laughing at her clothes and her shoes, the strange food that she brought for lunch. Some days, Maya held out her hand to show us what she brought to school. A deck of cards, pickup sticks, a small, tattered doll. Whenever she asked us to play, we said no. The days grew warmer and warmer. The pond thawed. Grass began growing where the snow had once been. One day, Maya came to school wearing a pretty dress and fancy shoes. But the shoes and the dress looked like they belonged to another girl before Maya. I have a new name for her, Kendra whispered. Never knew. Everything she has came from a secondhand store. Do you guys know what a secondhand store is? That's a store that sells pre-owned clothing and things. So the way that Kendra was talking made that sound like a real put down. But really, there's nothing wrong with buying something from a secondhand store. Okay, back to the story. We all laughed. Maya stood by the fence. She was holding her jump rope, but didn't come over. She didn't come over to ask us if we wanted to play. After a while, she folded it double, rolled the ends around each hand, and started jumping. She jumped around the whole schoolyard without stopping. She didn't look up once, just jumped, jumped, jumped. Okay, think about, how's Maya feeling? How's Chloe and her friends? How are they feeling? The next day, Maya's seat was empty. In class that morning, we were talking about kindness. Ms. Albert had brought a big bowl into class and filled it with water. We all gathered around her desk and watched her drop a small stone into it. Tiny waves rippled out away from the stone. This is what kindness does, Miss Albert said. Each little thing we do goes out like a ripple into the world. Then Miss Albert let each of us drop the stone in as we told her what kind things we had done. Joseph had held the door for his grandmother. Kendra helped change her baby brother's diaper. Even mean old Andrew had done something. I carried teacher's books up the stairs, he said. And Ms. Albert said, yeah, it was true. I stood there holding Ms. Albert's rock in my hand, silent. Even small things count, Ms. Albert said gently, but I couldn't think of anything, and I passed the stone on. Maya didn't come to school the next day, or the day after that. Each morning I walked to school slowly, hoping this would be the day Maya returned, and she'd look at me and smile, and I promised myself this would be the day I would smile back. Each kindness, Miss Albert had said, makes the whole world a little bit better. But Maya's seat remained empty, and one day Miss Albert announced to the class that Maya wouldn't be coming back. Her family had to move away, Miss Albert said. Then she told us to take out our notebooks. It was time for spelling. That afternoon, I walked home alone. When I reached the pond, my throat filled with all the things I wished I would have said to Maya, each kindness I had never shown. I threw small stones into it over and over, watching the way the water rippled out and away, like each kindness done and not done, like every girl somewhere holding a small gift out to someone, and that someone turning away from it. I watched the water ripple as the sun set through the maples. and the chance of a kindness with Maya became more and more forever gone. How's Chloe feeling now? Do you think she has some regret? Is she feeling bad about what she's done in the past? Okay. Let's think about the story. Why do you think the other kids were not very nice to the new girl, Maya? Do you think it had something to do with their first impression? Remember, what did they notice about Maya when she first came in? Yeah, they noticed that her clothes were torn, that her shoes were for spring instead of winter, that one of her shoes was broken. Do you think they might have prejudged her? Judged her based on her appearance without even knowing her? Wow, that's not really fair, is it? How do you think Maya felt? How did she react to their unkindness? I think she felt excluded. Do you? Like they weren't including her? How did she react? She kept trying. She did. She kept showing them things in her hand and asking them to play. And then when they said no, they didn't want to, what did she do? She went and she played by herself. It was probably lonely for Maya, I think. But she was making the best of the situation. Why did Chloe not drop her stone in the water when they were doing that activity in class? Yeah, I think she was feeling guilty too. She realized that she had opportunities to be nice to the new student in class, and she wasn't. What changed after Maya was gone? How did Chloe feel? Yeah, she was feeling regretful. She wished she had acted differently. She wished she would have shown some kindness to Maya. It's important to try to imagine how you would feel in the other person's situation. So if Chloe would think about, how does Maya feel? That would be empathy. And that would help her in making decisions about how to act. Because if she was in that situation, she would want people to be kind to her. See how that works? If you were in Maya's class, what would you have done? Well, sometimes we can't help when we make judgments about people's appearances. It might be our first reaction, but that doesn't mean you have to stick with that feeling. You can just say to yourself, hey, that's okay. I don't know her. I'll give her a chance and see if we can be friends. That way you can get to know a person without judging them up front. Now, this is the creative part. What do you think would happen next in the story? Like if there was a part 2 of the story, what would happen? I'll let you think about that. So I want to leave you with this thought. The teacher told the class, each kindness makes the whole world a little bit better. Here's a challenge for you. What can you do to create ripples of kindness in your school and at home and in your community? You have a lot of power to be able to create kindness, and then that kindness will ripple to someone else, and then they can show a kindness to someone else and to someone else. It's very powerful. Well, students, I enjoyed reading the story to you. Thanks so much for being a good listener.